careless. 1.21 gigawatts. Tom, how am I going to generate that kind of power? It can't be done, can it?
Look, all we need is a little plutonium.
Oh, I'm sure that in 1985, plutonium is available in every corner drugstore, but in 1955, it's a little hard to come by. Marty, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you're stuck here.
Whoa, Doc, stuck here? I can't be stuck here. I got a life in 1985.
This is it. This is the answer. It says here that a bolt of lightning is going to strike the clock tower at precisely 10:04 p.m. next Saturday night. If we could somehow harness this lightning, channel it into the flux capacitor, it just might work. Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Welcome back. Happy Friday, everyone. This is Not Your Advisor with NYU Grad on Friday, September 20th. It's going to be a fun one to close off this crazy week, but let's jump right into this. So I am going to be calling today's podcast 1.21 Gigawatts in honor of Back to the Future. I found something yesterday and I shared it on the Substack private chat, as well as on notes, as well as just a written post. But a lot of folks who are on Apple Music and Spotify who are not Substack members who are listening might not have heard about it or read about it, so I'm going to cover it today. But as always, let's start with the breadth numbers. We had 570 new highs on the NYSE versus 143 new lows. Looking at advanced declining, we had 31% advancing versus 65% declining. 30% of stocks were below their respective 50-day, and 32% of stocks were below their respective 200-day. Mixed bag. Microsoft was down 0.75%. Apple was down 0.3%. Nvidia down 1.6%. Alphabet up 0.86%, Meta down up 0.4%, Amazon up 0.91%, Tesla was down 2.3%. It really was all over the map, but it wasn't too defensive or too bullish. Looking at sectors for the day, utilities were up 2%. And that's all I can really speak of as far as sectors. Tech was down 0.55%. But for the week, interestingly, with the Fed rate cut of 50 basis points, you would think that tech and real estate would lead, but it wasn't the case. For the 1 week performance, you had communication services up 3.5%, energy up 3%, consumer cyclical 2.5%, financials up 2.39%, industrials up 2.14%, basic materials up 1.9%, utilities up 1.8%, tech up 1.06%. So that is just kind of the macro forest before the trees. So what I wanted to cover today, a little bit of a deep dive, is I saw an article, I saw a analog back from 2007, because I was looking for instances of when the Fed cut rates in the past by 50 basis points. And there was, the last one was 2008, before this week. But there was another one in 2007, which basically kicked off the great financial crisis. So I did a little bit of searching, found an article from September 18th, 2007. I thought it was a typo because our Fed cut this week 50 basis points on the same date, September 18th. I started to dig in a little bit more, and I started to look at the S&P 500 chart, and it's very similar. It rhymes quite a bit. So I'm going to dive into that in a second. I don't know if you've ever seen Back to the Future, just going back to the intro music and the scene from Back to the Future. and that's why I'm dedicating this podcast to that. We are going to go back in the time machine. We're going to get in my DeLorean and go back to September 18th, 2007. But I've listed some of my favorite movies of all time. It's hard to pick one, obviously. Leave a comment. Tell me which are your favorite movies that you just love to rewatch. So some of mine are Back to the Future, Karate Kid, Kung Fu Panda, Mission Impossible 3, Top Gun, Predator, John Wick, Gladiator, The Usual Suspects, and The Big Short. But let's dive into this. So I'm going to read you as quickly as I can the actual first 3 paragraphs of this news release from September 18th, 2007, 17 years ago and 2 days ago. This is on CNNmoney.com. The Federal Reserve cut the target on the key short-term interest rate by 0.5 percentage point Tuesday to 4.75 in a bold acknowledgement that the central bank is concerned the mortgage meltdown plaguing Wall Street and Main Street could hurt the economy. The Fed has also indicated that more rate cuts could be on the way, news that investors cheered. The Dow Jones Industrial Average surged more than 200 points immediately following the news of the Fed's half-point rate cut and wound up finishing the day with more than 335-point gain. Okay, I'm going to pause here. They could have reprinted this week and just reused the same exact article. Pretty nuts, huh? So let's go look at the chart. The S&P 500, when this rate cut happened in September 18th, 2007, as you just heard me read, the markets were up quite a bit. You can see the chart right here in the show notes. And then we proceeded to climb on the S&P from 1,500 to 1,580-ish over the course of 2 weeks before it finally rolled over, marking the top in 2007. And if you take a look at the wide angle view of the same chart, we rolled over about 2 weeks later, and obviously we had a lot of fits and starts, back testing, and we actually rallied really hard to make a new high after the initial fall. So take a look at this crazy chart back in 2007. I've indicated it in the red circle when they actually cut these 50 basis points, and then they did another one in 2008. And you can see the chart. We proceeded from 1,500 to just under 700. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe I'm looking for analogs. I'm looking for confirmation bias. Maybe it's nothing. But if my calculations are correct, like Doc Brown, lightning will strike the clock tower in Hill Valley on October 11th, 2024 at 10:04 p.m. PST. That's basically 2 weeks from September 18th, 2024. If you're a movie buff, the lightning struck the clock tower Saturday, November 12th, 1955. So let's mark our calendars for October 11th and see what happens here. And we'll all travel in this time machine together. Let's walk through what stuck out. The indices didn't do too much, but I noticed that home builders were all red. They told us that lower rates were going to be good for housing and home builders, so I don't know what the deal with that is. I mean, they've been very overbought, so they might be just selling the news here for a breather. But let's walk through what was strong today. CrowdStrike up 8.1%. Silver Court Metals up 6%. SMCI up 4.6%. This Harmony Gold 4.3%. Uranium 3.68%. Intel 3.3%, Kava 2.85%, Sweetgreen 2.83%. What was weak? Rivian down 10.9%, DJT down again 7.82%, Lennar 5.3% to the downside. These are home builder, New York Community Bank 4.59%. K. Hovanian Home Builders, or HOV, down 4.2%. ASML Holdings 3.97, Hims and Hers 3.6, Beazer Homes Home Builder 3.59, Qualcomm down 2.87, Natural Gas Futures down 2.79, TriPoint Homes down 2.78, Wayfair 2.72, KB Home Builder 2.68%, DHI, which is DR Horton Home Builder, down 2.6%. ACMR Research down 2.49. ITB, which is Home Building Index, down 2.33. Tesla down 2.3. HUD 8 2.27. XHB Home Builders Index 2.21. Pulte Homes down 2.15. Kura Sushi 2.14. KRE Regional Banks down 2%, and Lamb Research down 2.01%. Free members, a lot of the news flow is past us. I believe PMI is on Monday. Continue to watch the Mag 7 because they made up more than 50% of all of the gains this year on the S&P 500. So it makes it easy. Just watch the Mag 7. Watch the yields and continue to watch economic data. I hope you all have a great weekend. Premium members, please stay on. I've got a lot of charts to walk through with you today.